Right. So no doubt everybody, I don't know if anybody's taken a look at what this Maimah is about, but doubtless everybody was mamish worried, bepachad at the Hashgacha Pratis, Padova, that we've been learning for months. We're going back and forth different cheshbonos here in Samovar, and here we start the new Maimah. Well, even though it wasn't Pasha Chukas, it was Pasha Kitiso, but it's Pasha Chukas. It's the Pesukim at the beginning of this week's Pasha, the Bora Duma. And this week's Pasha is Pasha Chukas, which brings us, and this was Pasha Porah. It was the time of the year when they read the 4 parashas before Pesach. So it came out that this particular Maimah was Pasha Porah, therefore they based it on the Pesukim of the special Kriya in the Torah they read on that. It was Pasha Kisiso, so they read Pasha Kisiso. But after having read Pasha Kisiso, then they turn to at the end of the Pasha, they read the special Pasha, Pasha Porah. You know that there's 4 Pashas are read before Pesach. You know there's Pasha Shkolim, and then there's Pasha Zocher, Pasha Porah, and Pasha HaChodesh. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, that would be good if you were familiar with that. It's, the Indian of Pasha Porah is the 3rd of those Pashas which is read prior to the coming of Pesach, from Rosh Chodesh Adar through to Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And so the Geidel Hashgacha Pratis are picked to starting a new Maimah after a lot of diyunim, a lot of learning here in Samovar. We do starting on the same week that we read the actual Pasha of Pasha Chukas in the Torah, which opens with these Pesukim. So I would have thought that might have attracted some attention, but it seems that everybody just drags along from one thing to the other, and Menochim a little bit B'Havli Elam Aseh, a little bit in a few other inyanim, is the fact they don't notice the Geidel Diyuk, Geidel Hashgacha Pratis in certain inyanim. It's well known that it's Makubal B'Yedei Loim De Torah HaVosikim, but they say that if you learn Ayin and all of a sudden you're just learning B'Derech HaRogel, and you come across Ayin which is neged to the Parshas HaShavua, and that's a sign that you're learning Lishma. That's a sign that the limit is Lishma. But anyway, that doesn't seem to particularly interest or bother anybody, so we'll have to go further. So we begin with the pasuk Vayidava Hashem el Moshe ve'el Aharon Leimer. That's another fascinating deal, that this dibur in reference to Pasha Porah Duma was given both to Moshe and Aaron together. Zeis Chukas HaTorah. This is the Chukah of the Torah. Asher Tziva Hashem Leimer. Porah Duma is called Chukas HaTorah, literally the statute of the Torah. And it's well known that Diyuk in the Lashon Chukah, Rashi brings it down in Pasha Torah in Bereshis. Rashi's Mafarish that the stam mitzvahs in the Torah can possibly have a tam or not a tam. And then there's Mishpatim that they don't need a tam because they're Makubal Afil B'Seich Lanuchi. And then he brings over there, however, Chukim, or those are mitzvahs she'ein b'hem tam golui b'klal tam sikli eitzel ha'adam, why that should be the case, why that should be a mitzvah, and that's called a chukah. And that's what Rashi opens it in this week's Parsha, where you're no doubt familiar, having hopefully learned Yechitas, that Rashi brings right at the beginning. So is Chukas HaTorah. Rashi says that this is a mitzvah, that the Yumas Ha'olam and the Eitz HaHara are moinim Eitz HaAdam. They sort of had to cause immense confusion, and they ask him shailas, מה הטעם יש במצווה זו, ולא כן אומר הקדוש ברוך הוא גזירה היא לפני ואין לך רשות להרע אחריה. That's the first Rashi in the parasha, and that's what the Targum Onkelos is Metargim Gezeira de Oiraisa. That's what he brings. It's in from Gezeira Chucha. In other words, that in Torah, the Yinim from Paraduma is a dictatory of the Bechinas Chuka Sheba Torah. In other words, in Yonim in Torah, which are Tzivuyim me'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'mayla mi Seichel Ha'adam, and Kiyumam is in an even for that you have to avoid the tightness of the Yetzer Hara and the Yumas Ha'ilam, and you have to be Mekayimam in an even Gezeira, the Himel Fonai. And so that's the Indian of the word Chucha. Zeis Chuchas HaTorah. So ask yourself the shadow on the part of the intelligent reader, why would it be the Paraduma B'klal be called the Indian from Chuchas HaTorah? I mean, you could say Zeis Chuchas HaPorah, Zeis Chuchas Hatuma, or Mashu of that nature. But it's called a Klolesdika Chukkah. It's called the Chukkah of the whole Torah. However, when I get to, I mean, that will come out in the ganze Bio Ha'inen, even though it's not the Shaila, what the Rebbe addresses himself to. But Tzodik Lahavin, we need to understand, Mahu Beis Piyomim Havaya. What is it to mention the Shem Havaya twice in those Pesukim? Because it begins Vayidaba Havaya, the Shem Havaya, El Moishe ve'el Aaron, Leimoyer, and then he says, Zeis Chuchas HaTorah Asher Tzibo Havaya. And so since it's one Hemshech, it's moving that's the Shem Havaya who is speaking. It's written at the first beginning of the first section that's Shem Havaya is Medaber El Moishe ve'el Aaron. Is that if he was Mitzvah Mashu, then it was him who was Mitzvah that we should carry out the Porah Aduma. So why does it have to be written again? Zeis Chuchas HaTorah Shetzivo Havaya. It should have been written Zeis Chuchas HaTorah and further, whatever it is. If for some reason it had to be written the word Tzivui, then it could be written Asher Tzivisi, what I have commanded. Why is it mentioned again? The Shem Havaya. And therefore, and the fact that it's mentioned again would tend to indicate that the two inyonim that are necessary in this context, when you get to the Shem Havaya, or two madrigas, or two aspects of the Shem Havaya, which have to be mentioned and they have to be emphasized in this particular Hemshech. Vayidab Havaya vel Moishe vel Aaron, Zeis Chuchas HaTorah Tzivo Havaya. In other words, two inyonim in the Shem Havaya, two inyonim which connect together behemshech to the mitzvah of the Chuchas HaTorah and the Shayat Davki in that inyan of the Chuchas HaTorah, which is Porah Aduma. And therefore we need to understand what are they. V'hinei, says the Rebbe, Chuchas HaTorah Yadua Shehu Loshen Chakika. It's well known that the union of the word Chukas HaTorah, or the word Chukah, is from Loshen Chakika. Now the word Chakika means something which is literally engraved or chopped out of. For example, the oisis on the luchos, they are called oisis HaChakika, because they were engraved in the stone of the luchos. The ilu oasis which are written on parchment or on paper, they are called oasis kasiva. But the actual word chukah itself is indicatory. Its root is from the word lachkok. What lachkok means to engrave, literally, into the essence of the thing that you want it to appear on. Instead of making it like right on the thing you want it to appear on, you engrave it and cut it into the inyan, and that's what's called chakika. So there said the Rebbe, it's well known. Where is it well known? It's Yadua, and that's brought down by the Alter Rebbe also at the beginning of this week's parsha in Parsha Chukas. In the Kutei Torah, the Alter Rebbe is Mavaya Barichas. that the word chukah is miloshen chakiko, and he goes on to explain the difference between what he calls over there oisis aksav or oisis chakiko, and he says that oisis aksav are the oisis which are written, as we just said, with ink on a parchment, and therefore the ink is one inyan and the parchment is another inyan. The ilur chakiko, the oisis appear in the very essence of the inyan itself. In other words, that there's no hevdel between the oisis and the even in which you're choichik them. And the dogma from them is in haluchis, that the oisis were chakuchis, betoich etzem ha-even itself. And so therefore the Alter Rebbe is mavaya that when we say zois chukas ha-toiro, that we mean that the inyan from Paraduma is indicatory of a madrega in Torah which is called oisis achakiko. In other words, it's a level in Torah where the inyan in the Torah is so miyuchat with elikus that it can't even be described as a Torah shebiksav in the normal way, even though it's kol in the whole inyan from the written Torah. It's part of the Torah shebiksav. The Alter Rebbe is mavaya that in Torah shebiksav gufa we see that there are two different types. There's Torah shebiksav and there's Torah shebikchakika, oisis ha-chakika, like the shtei haluchos. So he said there are certain mitzvahs with mitzad der madrega gavoya in those mitzvahs and the kloliyas that they refer, and they have a ashpor kloliyas on all the mitzvahs, that they derive from that level of where the oisias are mamish chakukim kaviyochol amayla, they're mamish miyuchad with elikus. They're not another inyan which has come out begolui b'derech yerida from elikus, but they're mamish mushrash in a madrega gavoya of elikus that they call oisias hachakiko. That's what the Alter Rebbe is mavaya bariches. And then he goes on to say that that's the goydel inyan of the Porah Aduma, that it's nimsha from a madrega gavoya madrega gavoya ma'id, and that's why it's called chukas kol haTorah kula, and that's the inyan of chakika. And as well known, the Alter Rebbe talks about that at great length in the Maimah of Im B'chukoisai Teilecho in Pasha B'chukoisai. We mentioned that earlier in the Hemshah. That over there he also talks about the inyan of inyonim in Torah, how they are mitzad oisis ha-chakiko, and not mitzad the inyan from oisis ha-ksiva. Also upon him, zois chukas ha-Torah means a madrega in Torah which is from chakiko. It's from a yichud with the mokeh and with elikus in such a madrega that it's al derech vi misyached mamish with elikus. Even naila b'yisa, even compared to the other mitzvahs. Ukedeisa b'medrash, and similar to what it appears in the medrash, chukais shebohem chokachti shomayim ba'oret. But it's written in the medrash that there's such a thing as chukais. It's a lashon rabim shebohem chokachti shomayim ba'oret. Literally the ordinances or the statutes, the inyanim, the laws which are b'derech chukah, which through them I was chokek shomayim ba'oret. I literally brought about the inyan of shomayim ba'oret. Now shomayim ba'oret means the inyan of the creation. So now we need to understand here what is the purpose of that medrash and what's its shaykhus here, because that medrash doesn't occur in reference to the Porah Aduma. Now that medrash occurs in reference to the pasuk in B'chukoisai Teilecho, what we mentioned before, that the Alter Rebbe talks at great length over there about the inyan from oisias, how they are in the form of chakiko. Or over there at the beginning of Pasha B'chukoisai, it says if you will go in B'chukoisai Teilecho, then nosati gishmeichem, I'll give you your rain or your gashmis v'chulu, with all the promises and all the brachas that occur over there. So we see Rashi comes along immediately over there and he says, what does it mean b'chukoisai? So it says Rashi that it means the inyan of limud ator, learning Torah. But he said you have to learn Torah in a oiven from amelim b'Torah, im tiyu amelim. What it mainly means that you don't just work hard, but you give away your whole metzias, and you struggle and work to the point you have no other metzias apart from Torah. If you learn Torah in that way, then it's called chukei sai. And we see that the lashon over there is chukei sai, my chukei. In other words, the Indian of chok, how it is in its madrega atzmiyas, of being shaykh and bottled to etzem elokut. And that was called chukei sai. So on that, the Midrash, right at the end of Vayikra, the Midrash Rabbah comes along, and the Midrash Rabbah says that im b'chukei sai teilechu, if you go in my chukes, then I'll give you all that you need, I'll give you all the brachas. So comes again the Midrash, and it says chukei shebahem chokakti shomayim va'oretz. These are referring to the chukes with which I literally fixed and made and engraved, as you might say, the shomayim and the oretz. So the intelligent reader immediately thinks, what's that got to do with im b'chukei sai teilechu? Chukei sai teilechu is referring to Torah, as we just said, as they bring Rashi, and as they state out in the Midrash, Kama Piyomi. As he came, what do they all of a sudden bring here? Chukei b'shebahem chokakti shomayim va'oretz. So you have to look there in the Midrash. If you look further in the Midrash, excuse me, what are you doing right now? Okay, so don't do it. Okay, you look in the Sefer, but that's the way you learn. If you play with your fingers, you're not going to learn anything. Okay? Okay, I'm not interested a heck. You know, I didn't see you around the last couple of days much, understand? So, I don't know what's going on. So, the only thing I can say is that if we're not in it, then we're not going to get anywhere. Are we? Over there it's written b'chukei sai teilechu. So it brings the Midrash over there, chukei shebahem chokakti shomayim va'oretz. So the Midrash knows that the intelligent reader can't quite figure what's chukei shomayim va'oretz got to do with him b'chukei sai teilechu. And immediately the Midrash brings a pasuk for Yirmiyahu Hanavi. Well, it's written over there that im loy brisi yom v'layla chukei shomayim v'oretz loy samti. And the Meforshim said that brisi is referring to the Torah. If not the Torah, yom v'layla, then chukei shomayim v'oretz, the statutes of the heavens and the earth, I would not have placed, or I wouldn't have brought them into being. So it comes out of his head that pasuk in Yirmiyahu is stressing that the whole Metzias of the world is totally in Limud HaTorah, totally in the Inyan from Limud HaTorah. And at Kidikach, it's brought down over there in the Meforshim, in Yirmiyahu, it's brought down, and certainly the Meforshim learn, but Derech HaPshat, that im loy brisi yom v'layla, day and night, there's got to be somebody learning Torah. And if there's not, then there's no kiyum to the heavens and the earth. The Father always has to be somebody learning Torah somewhere in the world, which means that if chas v'sholem v'chodila v'chas it be a time when nobody's learning any Torah, then the world would just finish. It wouldn't be there. Im loy brisi yom v'layla, as they say Yirmiyahu Hanavi. If it weren't for the fact that my bris, meaning Torah, is there every moment, yom v'layla, then chukei shomayim v'oretz like something. There's no chukes of the heavens and the earth. So that's what the Midrash immediately says, that's the connection im b'chukei sai teilechu. In other words, that if you go in my chukes, how they're mamish the Inyan for Torah, and how they affect the chukei shomayim v'oretz, so then you're learning Torah in a way that you'll bring all the brachas. Meaning that if a person's given away to Limud HaTorah in the right way, then that's mamshich and megala, the whole Inyan of shomayim v'oretz, and that's what gives a kiyum to the whole Inyan of shomayim v'oretz. However, we see Lefizeh that when he comes to the Inyan of shomayim v'oretz, he also uses this word hakika. And immediately over there, the Medrash connects it with the Torah, because otherwise you can't quite figure what you've got to do with the word in B'chukai Lecho. So the Medrash immediately brings you to your right mahalach. It brings you into the pasuk referring to Torah and its effect on the world. So the Fizeh kommt is that the whole union of the creation is also described as being chukah. Chukah is shomayim v'oretz lo samti, and is dependent and is linked with the chukahs of the Torah. So ask yourself the shaila, why would shomayim v'oretz, the making of the heavens and the earth, why would that be called hakika? What is the union in calling that like an engraving into the etzem union of Elokus, pink to see with the penimis v'atzmius of the Torah? Why would it be such a union? And therefore he says, "V'tzorik lahavin mahu inyan hakika shomayim v'oretz." What does it mean, the hakika of shomayim v'oretz? Literally the engraving of heavens and the earth. In other words, the key with the heavens and the earth come from this level of engraving kaviyachol in Elokus, being miyuchad b'tachlis with Elokus. Haloi hashomayim v'oretz nivro b'pinas bria, loi b'pinas chakika levad. Here's a very fascinating kasha. The Rebbe said that however high you will say chakika is, of a l'chayra, there's a maila in the shomayim v'oretz which nothing has. The whole union from shomayim v'oretz were created yesh mi hayin, and we've had before. The Alter Rebbe brings in Igeras HaKodesh that hu levadi b'kecha v'yachol telahavis as a yesh mi hayin v'efes hamuklat, that the union of bria yesh mi hayin is only the kecha the atzmis mami, only the Eibishter b'kfeidah v'atzmei, only he can be mahava yesh mi hayin. What's this whole union of making the shomayim v'oretz kil kol chukais l'chera? There's a union in the etzem creation of the world, which they were created yesh mi ayin, and union from bria. So you might say, where's it written yesh mi ayin? That's well known. The Ramban is mafarish that the word bria means yesh mi ayin. That the etzem word bria means yesh mi ayin. Edify. It follows that there's a union in the shomayim v'oretz which is bria, and therefore he said loy b'chinas chakika levad. What was the word levad? He could have just said loy b'chinas chakika ela b'chinas yesh mi ayin. What does he say loy b'chinas chakika levad? What levad tends to say only chakika, which would tend to imply that despite the great miles in chakika, there's a special union in shomayim v'oretz which has in itself its own union. More even than just chakika. Why do we connect chakika with the union for shomayim v'oretz? That's one side. And then he says another side. And this seems to be going back, as you might say, the other way. V'gam tzorich lahavin haloi ha'toiro ila mayla mishomayim v'oretz. So enoch hanami. Maybe there's a maila in the etzem yisavas of the yesh. You got a yesh miah, ayin and enoch hanami. That's got in itself a maila. But the way the yesh of the shomayim v'oretz come about, they become a unifa shomayim v'oretz gashmiyim, and you don't see anything, any gila elakus. They are maila mumaster legamre afelakus. However, the shomayim v'oretz gashmiyim, the way they are begolui, are not megala elokut, and on the contrary, they are what he called a kaviyachol, to use an expression. There are chisaron legabi, they meet this in of gila elokut, because you don't see. On the contrary, they are mailim umaster of elokut. Therefore, he says that the Torah is much higher than shomayim v'oretz. That the Torah is higher than shomayim v'oretz. So what do we mean by that? What do we mean by saying that the Torah is l'mayla mishomayim v'oretz? So why would you say that chukais, but that's referring to Torah, as we said, that's referring to chukais telecho, that's referring to Torah, shebohem chokakti shomayim v'oretz, I'm saying to you, the whole greatness of the Chukim is that they have a Choykek, and they also cause the engraving of the Shemayim V'Oretz. So the Rebbe is saying that if we're saying that Chuk is referring to Torah, and it's referring to Torah in a high madrege of Chukah Sheba Torah, then that's much higher than Shemayim V'Oretz. So l'chera that means, I feel b'pashta without the hemshech of the Shaila, of the Kashiyah, b'pashta it means that Shemayim V'Oretz, being as they are, Devarim Gashmiyim V'Chumriyim, and they're even from Nivroim, that they're Yerod Lamata, and they're Mailim Momasla of Elikus. Torah is Gilui Rotzana Hashem, and Torah is Mamish Gilui Ela, Kus Vayera Davaya Al HaSinai. Yeah, Vayitav Elokim is Kol HaDvarim Ha'ela Lei Ma'er, to bring it over into these colors of Elikus in the world. And then we have to say that Elikus is higher than Shemayim V'Oretz. He said, why would we say that the whole Shemayim V'Oretz is totally in the inner from Chukis, or is equal, and in some way the inner from Shemayim V'Oretz is literally the greatness or the uftu of the Chukis of Torah. He said the inner from Torah is Lamayla Mishamayim V'Oretz. V'hainu means like a beer in that. How can we mavaya the maya of Torah over Shemayim V'Oretz? Sha'oyer shemamshichim al yadei Torah u'mitzvahs ein zeh b'chinas ha'oyer ashayich lo oilamas levad ki im gilui oyer naila yoisa. He said the oyer which we mamshich al yadei Torah u'mitzvahs is a oyer which is Har b'nai Yosef with the inyan of the oil which is miskala in Brias v'Savas ha'Oilamas. And Oilamas is one of the Oilamas, but Oilamas is the last and the lowest of all the Oilamas. Now where do we have this? I don't know if you guys remember, but we had all about this in some of the previous Maimorim when we spoke about the infant Tainug, the Tainug Elokisha B'Bria in Sukkot, and after that in Shabbos Bereshis over here, Vayichulu Shemayim V'Oretz V'Chulu. Over there, the Rebbe was masbir that there's a inyan from Rotzen V'Oineg, how they are in the inyan Habriya, and then there's a inyan from Rotzen V'Oineg, how they are in the inyan from Torah or Mitzvahs, and then there's a inyan from Rotzen V'Oineg in Mitzvahs Maisi, Mamish B'Pel Mamish B'Kabbalas El Malchus Shemayim Lamata. But that's a tainuk, poshut, me'ain the tainuk poshut, which is going to be miskala liyosid lore. That's what he was mavaya. And he said that there's over there in the Maimah in Sukkot he was mavaya that it's al derech v'yedin from rotzen chitzeini v'rotzen penimi. There can be a where a mensch does a thing and he wants to do it. But he doesn't really mean that. He only wants to do that because Ali Dezeh, he's going to get to a deeper, more important inyan, and therefore the Rotzen Chitzeni is only really for the sake of coming to the Rotzen HaPnimi. And one of the dugmas in that is the inyan from Panosa. So the mensch, what does he want out of doing all that he does? He wants to get the money and the income in order that he should be able to be Mafanas B'nai. He should be able to be Mafanas his house and his mishpacha with the ganze do it. And therefore, in order to do that, he's prepared to have all sorts of preoccupations and running and what do you call it, busyness for chulu, what setting up a business or other forms of income. But that's a tremendous, what you might call physical and mental preoccupation to the man. And yet, nonetheless, we say that he wants to do all that. So you might say, what do you mean he wants to do all that? I mean, he doesn't. So he doesn't really care. He wants to get the money, which comes out at the end. So we say, that's called the chayfetz, or the rotzen ha'pnimi. But in order to get to the rotzen ha'pnimi, you have to go through a certain inyanim, and that's called the rotzen ha'chitzoni. There's a whole big arichas we had over there. in the Hemshech. And that's also got to do with the union of Shamayim Ba'oretz, that the Eibishter ultimately wanted there should be Dira Aloyas Bara B'tach Toinim, and he wanted there should be a mens, and the men should be Mamshich Etzem Elikus Lamata Mata B'toich Ha'olam. That would be the union of Izgalus Elikusei B'toich Ha'olam HaGashmi Dira B'tach Toinim. But in order to do that, you have to first of all have a world. You have to have first of all a world, and you have to have a man that he's created in the world. And then you can be Megala through him, the union for Dira B'tach, B'tach Toinim. You come to us at the union of the world, having a world, and that's like the person wanting his business. He has to do that. There's a rotzen and a certain rotzen chitzoni that be. And then after that there's all the inyanim which are shayet to the rotzen apnimi, the haina that there should be gila lakus lamata mata. So we saw over there it's not only shayet in the rotzen, but it's also shayet in the inyan von oineg, a kaviyachol, in tainug, that the Eibush had a certain tainug in the etzem bria, as we see by Yechor HaShamayim V'Oretz V'chol Tzor, that we say on Shabbos night, and by Yechul is Loshen tainug. So he stated in the Medrash that the Eibush had a certain tainug in the world, or by ultimately speaking, the Gabi the tainug that he has in the tachlis of the whole world. The ultimate purpose is there should be a world and should be Dira Lo Yisbora B'tatoinim, or that's a chitzonius tikatainug, the Gabi the emes of oinig. Atzmi, which will be Miskala Liyosid, Liyosid Lovi, take you from Miyad Mamish, or take you from Miyad B'Poel Mamish. There should be these scholars, Mamish Lamata, and that's only going to be Boisa Harega HaMiyuchal, it's going to be taken from Miyad Be'ezah Hashem. Of Al Chaponim, that's called the Pnimius V'Atzmius of the Rotzen. So therefore we see that there are different inyonim and different levels in the inyan for Rotzen and in the inyan for Oineg. And therefore the Rebbe said that you can't compare the inyan of the Oineg that there is in Torah mitzvahs and the Rotzen, what the Eibush has in Torah mitzvahs, to the Rotzen that he had in Brias HaOlam. Because what he had in Brias HaOlam was only how do you call it, a medium type Rotzen, a Rotzen in order to get to the Rotzen that he has in Torah and mitzvahs. And therefore you can't compare the Gilui Elokus, which is in Olam, to the Gilui Elokus, which is Nimshach Alidei Avedas Ha'odom, when he does the Emes Aveda of Torah mitzvahs, then he's mamshich a completely different form of Gilui Elokus in the Olam. So the Rebbe, you can't compare the inyan for Tainug or Gilui Rotzen Eloki or Gilui Oyer Eloki in the making of the world to the Gilui Oyer Rotzen and Oyer Eloki Alidei Torah and mitzvah. And as far as the Torah and mitzvahs is the tachlis of everything, whenever when you mamshich Oyer through the avodah in Torah and mitzvahs, then you bring down an Oyer which is Lamaila altogether from Shamayim V'Oretz, and mamshichim alidei Torah mitzvahs ein ze b'chinas oyer hashayach lo'elamus. Well, that's not the type of Gilui Elokus which is shayach only to the Elamus levad, only to Elamus. Ki'im Gilui Oyer naila yoiser. It's a much more elevated and higher Oyer in which is nimshach into the world alidei the avodah in Torah and mitzvah. Sure. How come then that we connected the whole inyan from Torah with the inyan from Chukosh Shamayim V'Oretz? Now, in order to understand the next section, I'm going to have to read it carefully from what's here in this sefer here, where they've put it right. But the way it's written in front of you guys in these Sforim that are some above is unfortunately a confusion. There's a couple of lines, but they must have got them somehow or another, beginnings and the end of the lines mixed up. It just doesn't make any sense. But here, fortunately, they put it right. And therefore, we'll have to just read it from here, and you'll have to just write in. I have no other brainer. You'll just have to write in and try and make the sentences appear correctly. Ukiyadua, as is well known, Tezeu ha'hefresh bein krisus bris the Noach, the krisus bris the Avram u'Moshe. And it's well known that the fact that Torah mitzvahs is a much higher his galus, Elokus, than the inyan from Shamayim V'Oretz, despite the fact that mitzat the etzem inyan of making the Shamayim V'Oretz, that we said in the first kasha, there's a inyan which is yesh mi'ayin, with the ein l'mayla mizeh. Although, like we said, that the koyach eloki in that is behelem. Begolui is you have a gashmistic world. And therefore he said that difference between the oilam as it is stam and the gil elokus alidei Torah, that's the difference between the making of the bris that the Eibishter made, the covenant that he made with Noach, compared to the covenant that he made with Avram and Moshe, Avram Avinu and Moshe. And we'll see as we go along what they are. The Krisis bris, the Noach, the Krisis bris, the making of the bris that the Eibishter made with Noach, was after the Mabu, when he'd already come out of he'd come out of the ark, he came out of the Teva. So then the Eibishter made with him a bris. And what was the sign of the bris?
Rainbow.
Rainbow.
Very nice. The inyan of the rainbow, that was like the sign that the Eibishter put in the makeup of the creation, that he'd made such a bris. But what was the actual bris? He said that the Krisis bris Tanur, Mashakosuf, Oid Kol Yemei Ha'oretz. From now on, there will always be all the days of the earth. And then he goes on to say there all the 4 seasons. He mentions summer and winter and spring and all those things. If you look up over there, and you're probably familiar with the pasuk in the Pesukim over there in Noach. In other words, the Krisis bris with Noach is who Krisis bris al kiyum oil, on the etzem inyan that the world will continue going ahead as a world the way it is, kiyum oil, as one on. But that was the promise that Noach was afraid that just like all the world went fine for a while, and all of a sudden the Eibishter just took it all away. He was mattal home and cheers of the world with a mabu. So he was concerned that if he'll have generations, he'll bring generations to the world. Maybe in another period of time there'll be another bittul kol ha'olam. And therefore the promise to Noach was that from now on the Eibishter, despite the fact that he may not be pleased Kaviyachol with certain inyanim, and there might be during bilti ritzuyim, but he's not going to destroy the whole. He won't destroy the whole world, and therefore the covenant and the chayvus, as you might say, but that's the inyan of a bris. He made that with Noach purely that there would always be a world. V'hainu sheyum shachachayis hashayach le'olam, that there'll always be a gilui milmaila of the chayis eloki, which is shayach to olam. In other words, it wasn't just stam epizah. You'll always be able to see the tree or something. In other words, that the Eibishter will always be megala, or that type of chayis, which would be makayim kola ha'olam. And there wouldn't be ever any more a bittul in the etzem, what you might call preservation of the world and the chayis, which is machaya. Aval, however, the Krisis bris, the Avram, the Krisis bris that he made with Avram Avinu, is written in the pasuk by Yom Hahu Koras Hashem es Avram bris. You have to write that down. I think you guys got that there. In Yom Hahu Koras Hashem es Avram bris. It could be I've got an old copy here. But anyway, whatever. It's that's a pasuk in Pasha Lech Lecha, and that's talking out to the bris ben Abba Besarim. But you remember the bris ben Abba Besarim, where the Eibishter told Avram to take the 3 animals and to cut them into halves, and then he walked between them, and then there was fire and the whole thing. And the Eibishter spoke to Avram Avinu and said to him that he's going to give him and his seed, they're going to be first of all enslaved in a country that they doesn't belong to them. In other words, in Mitzrayim, and then after 400 years they're going to go out and they're going to be Yerush Eretz Yisrael. And he talks about the 7 peoples, how they are in Eretz Yisrael, and then he adds the other 3 peoples, the Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni. That's the 3 extra peoples which are only going to be, the Poel the Eden didn't get them, even when they got the whole Shleimus of Eretz, so they didn't get them. And they're only going to be given Li'osid Loe, as Rashi himself brings down over there, but again to the Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni. And then after that, at the completion of the whole promise that Avraham Avinu is given by the Eibishter after the vision that occurred going between the Besorim, then it's written that Loshen Bayei Mahu, on that day, Koros Hashem, the Eibishter, literally cut or made a bris with Avraham. So if you look in the Pasuk, it's written that he made the bris with Avraham. I'll give you, I'll give you this land, which he mentions in the whole Nevuah, which is the Indian of Eretz Yisrael. So it comes along the Rebbe. So the Rebbe says, what is the Krisis bris with Avraham? He said, Hu al Torah u mitzvah. It's referring to Torah and mitzvah. Okay, my Marazal, and like our sages have it, was a Gora Peledigaza. What else we got to do with it? And this is a Medrash Rabbah going Shir Ashirim. It's going under the Indian Lechera, but it refers to Noach and Avraham. And the Eivisha says to Noach, according to the Medrash, or he says to Avraham Avinu, I'm sorry, he says, Minoach loy hamadati maginim v'tzadikim. He said, from Noach I didn't stand up or bring into the world protectors and great righteous men. Umimcho ani ma'amid maginim v'tzadikim. But from you, Avraham Avinu, I'm going to bring out protectors and tzadikim. Yeah, maginim is people they protect, or they how do you call it? They bring a schus on their generation, or they are tzadikim. Tzadikim, people that they bring good things and gilel to Yidden and to the world. So what's it got to do? One thing with the idea. What's vashayches? What is to them? To that etzem krisis bris what the Eibishter made with Avraham, compared to the krisis bris that he made with Noach. What is the hevdel? Was it the inyan b'zeh? So if we look into the psukim of the Pashtas and we study them carefully, Harayah over there in Pasha Lech Lecho, then it appears that the Ikka of the brisben of Besorim is in 2 main inyanim. Dahainu, the inyan of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the inyan of Geula Mitzrayim. That even though there'll be a Golas Noira v'Otzim in Mitzrayim, there'll be a Geula Mizeh, and there'll be a Geula Shleima. All the Yidden will go out from there, and they'll go where to? Eretz Yisrael. Kila, the other main aspect is the promise that you're going to be able to be Yerush all the 7 peoples, and even 3 more, which we haven't been Yerush yet, in the famous Maimon of the Mitla Rebbe, where it talks about Parishas Gedolah, how we are going to be Yerushim, Korav Mamish, etc., is so it would appear that the whole Koros is Avraham bris is between Avraham and him and his all generations to come, that he'll get Eretz Yisrael, and that Eretz Yisrael will belong to them, and that they'll be Yerush, all the whole shleimas of all the people that are any shaykhs to Eretz Yisrael, plus even certain peoples which are outside Eretz Yisrael to a certain extent. Remember, that seems to be the krisis habrit. Comes again the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says no, that the krisis bris is al Torah u mitzvah. So I asked the Shara, what does he mean with that? So we could learn in Pashtas that later when the Yidden went into Eretz Yisrael, Prior to the Inyan from Eretz Yisrael, there was the Inyan from Matan Torah. After Matan Torah, everything is told in Kiyum Torah HaMitzvot. And the whole Inyan of Eretz Yisrael and having Eretz Yisrael is all dependent in the Inyan of Kiyum Torah HaMitzvot. If you keep mitzvahs, you'll have Eretz Yisrael. Oy benish cholileva v'chas. And that's what we see what happened. B'shas it wasn't the Kiyum Torah mitzvahs the way the Eibishter required them was chas v'sholem. The Inyan from Churban Abayis with the ganze arichas ha'inyan. Maybe what the Rebbe means then is that the Inyan was on Torah mitzvahs because that's kila the contract for which you get Eretz Yisrael. When you look at the Inyan, זה מה שניתן להבין מזה. However, if you look carefully at it, that's not exactly what he means. Particularly when he brings this raya from the Medrash, הרי אני מעמיד ממך מגינים וצדיקים. What does he do? What is it just to that I can't see it from the bris ben Besorim. So we have to say that what he means is that the bris ben Besorim was a bris of the etzeminim from Torah mitzvahs. And Eretz Yisrael is below gam b'chitonius, gam b'pnimius is kol inside the Inyan of Torah and mitzvahs. Like it's put down in certain drushim that the Inyan from Eretz, like to give the Medrash says at the beginning of the Medrash Rabbah, Loma Nikra Shma Oretz Mepnei Sherotzto La'aseis Retzain Koino, that the land which he ran or it wanted to do the will of the Eibishter. In my middle, the word Eretz is indicatory of the Rotzen to do the will of the Eibishter. That's the word Eretz. And it's well known that that's the beer in Eretz Yisrael, that if you have a Rotzen, to be Makayim Allah Inyonim from Rotzen Hashem, but that's in from Eretz, well then you can hold by the Madrega Gavoya from Yisrael compared to Yankiv. And then B'dur Mamela, you Yerush Yisrael B'Shleimus, Hamuv Gam B'Gashmi. You have Eretz HaKodesh B'Pasta. However, with Lafizeh Kumto, he said the bris that he made, Koros Avraham bris, the bris he made with Avraham Avinu was on the Etzeminim for Torah Mitzvah. Or you need a bris of Torah Mitzvahs. Torah Mitzvahs are Tzivui. How does it say? Kofar Alam Har Kigigis. Lift up the mountain, he said, booing. You're going to keep the mitzvahs or not? The mitzvahs were a chiyuv, but Matan Torah wasn't a creases breeze up the Inyan from Torah. So we have to say that it's all about Taliyah. Just like that through the Inyan from Torah mitzvah, we come to the Inyan from Eretz Yisrael. The creases bris was that if you do Torah mitzvahs, taka the way it's supposed to be, and you give yourself away to kiyum Torah mitzvahs, then it'll help. Very good. It'll have an effect on the world, and you'll be Yerush Eretz Yisrael, and all the inyanim what need to be will be, and there'll be the Inyan for Gilei Elokus, boy for Naila, I'll be in the world. And that's a creases bris. In other words, we can imagine that a mensch could do what the Eibishter wanted, and that go. But the Eibishter just wanted of him that he do certain things, and he just does them, and that's it. Can't he? If the Eibishter said, stand on your head, so stand on your head. Well, what else to done? He's the Rabbeinu Shalom. And he said, do kach. And the father creases bris with Torah mitzvah, not just that you got to do them, but you, aliday what you do them, then there'll be all sorts of unbelievable results. Mizeh, koil Eretz Yisrael, eino chanami ubika, aber chutz mizeh, gam Gilei Elokus, ba'olam mamish, and that a Yid will be able to see that aliday what he did mitzvahs, there'll be the for Hamshachas Elokus b'toich ha'olam. Mamila, that's a special creases bris what the Eibishter made ala Torah mitzvahs. He said when a Yid does Torah mitzvahs, he doesn't just do a boy for the Yovish, Rotzen Hashem, and then he just goes further. Maybe he gets a nice score on his score sheet. But his mamshi Gilei Elokus in the world. And that, after them, you have to have a creases bris. Who said I'm going to give you Gilei Elokus in the world? Who are you? This man is for Nivra. Yeah, Lamata, Bezel, who said you're going to be Megala Gilei Elokus? Elikus, das Gufe, the Indian from Christus Bria. And that's part of the beer that we're learning. Alidate, Kiyum, Atera, Mrs. Yo, Magala, Elikus, and all. So ask yourself to give all the child, wasn't it tight your Magala, Elikus in the world? There's already Elikus in the world. The Abishter made it. Who made it? Yeah, Bria, Shamayim, Ver? Or, this is by Dira Kleinigkeit. Bria, Shamayim, Ver? Pile Plus from the man. The whole Yakum, the whole universe is nothing except a small fry by you. That didn't Bria Shamayim Ver? Alright? So the Abishter says, yeah, ain't no chanami. It's taki a gewaldige Indian, aber Gabi, what we're really after, that's it's a small Indian. Now we have to have Gilel Elikus in the world. In that world we have to have Gilel Elikus. What's very fascinating, I heard last night, I was at a Simcha. Mishpachti is, I met a person, I haven't seen him in many years, and he was very talkative, and they wanted to have conversation, and he was telling me some amazing things that he's heard about Shomayim. It's all sorts of amazing things that they're finding out about the, about the Yakum and about how things function. Yes, anyway, one of the things he was saying is that that they all must peer one to the other, all the different stars and all the planets and all the galaxies. They all have a kesher, one with the other, all must peer, one they're all mekabel, one from the other. That's what am I doing for some in Lefiera? I don't know if everybody knows about it. Al Kaponim Yesh B'Zahal V'Inyonim Ad Lahafli V'Ein Kana Mochem Le Laharik B'Zeh. Yesh Laharik B'Zeh V'Ein Kana Mochem Laharik B'Zeh. So anyway, I opened up today about a chimish. But people say to me, what do you buy all these foreign for? You already got one for what you buy another chumash for. I bought the zweite chumash because it's got quotations from the Zohar. But I just don't always have the time to take the Zohar off the Roy. And here I got it right on the spot. I quote certain things from the Zohar. So I bought the chumash. I opened up today in 90 parasha to look up Ipsa. And I could have just all some boom. The piece in the Zohar Kodesh he brings in this week's parasha, where steht dort that Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Chia were once walking. They met up with a guy. A whole amazing story. Here is a sipur. What he did, this fellow, but he was picking up some sort of asovim from the field, and they saw him picking these little sort of grasses in the field. He was putting a tremendous amount of kavona and chipus noira to find a certain little piece of leaf or grass leaves or something on the ground. So he went over and said to him, what are you up to? And he wouldn't even answer them because he said he can't be mafsik. He made them a sign they shouldn't try a carpet. And I said afterwards they followed him, and in the end with this little Azav he blew up. He put it inside some place where there was some very evil person that hid himself in it. He had snakes and he was using these snakes to attack people. I said, God, it's unbelievable, mass. And he just put this little Asa inside. The whole thing fell down and all the snakes either died or fled. It was a pillar to get up. So Rabbi Asa said to him, what's it to it? So he says, Mamish, this guy said to me, this guy said to Rabbi Yosef, and it's written that Rabbi Yosef went back and told the story to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and that he saw. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that Vadi, who was a Ish Kodesh, he doesn't know exactly who he was, but Vadi was a Ish Kodesh, and everything he said to you was Divrei Emes. Anyway, he said that even the smallest little Asa, if you know the right ones, and you know how to pick them, have got unbelievable powers. The whole Bria is full of inyonim which have unbelievable powers and to do all sorts of inyonim. They say, for example, refuahs and all sorts of things. He was looking for a particular little thing that he happened to know that will also blow up or show him or kill, kill a whole, nest of nasty snakes. And all we needed was this one little Azav, and that would do the whole task. And he says that there are all sorts of asovim and things in the Bria, ad lahafli, ad li million and millionim, van azolche koiches all throughout the Bria, that they have amazing powers. You just got to know which ones they are and how to use them, b'kedusha. That's why Reb Shimon said that Bavada, he was a Ish Kodesh, that he knew b'kedusha how to be megalados in Yon. Was Lafis Ekromta is that the Shamayim va'oretz is called a pel dike moel and dike zah. V'yesh b'zeh in Yonim v'niflois ad pele niflo ad lahafle ufele. In the whole Shamayim va'oretz. And Afal Pikain, but that whole Shamayim va'oretz doesn't come to the Gilui Alidei Torah a mitzvah. So v'asol to show how do I have? I'm just part of the Shemayim V'oretz. I'm just one of the. How do I have the koyah to bring that down into the world? That's a kriyas bris. That's a bris what the Eibishter made with the inif Avraham v'Zarei and Mamira. That's inif an Oretz. Yeah, lazarecha aten esa Oretz. Or Mamira. That's inif an koyah b'pashtis gam Eretz Yisrael. I tell you, and the father, the raya is that loy min noyak loy hamadim. There's another Zohar Kodesh about that. The whole Zohar Kodesh taken down, connected with that medrash. Some of the Manim Akimis in the medrash shik up to them Zohar. There's a Zohar Kodesh which says that that Noach wasn't zeichet to certain inyanim, because with all his greatness, Noach, but he didn't really sort of pray about everybody else. He was very much sort of into his own, it's hard to say that. I mean, who are we to say about a person like Noach? But the Zohar Kodesh says, if the Zohar Kodesh says that we can some way or another quote it. But Elo Avraham Avinu, he was already a man when he bought it, had he could have him gebadet, the ganze world, and he was trying to reach thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, so the ganze do is Avraham Avinu was a klal mensch. That was Avraham Avinu, and therefore he was zeicher that he should have from him as other people, Mashiach Noah, with all his greatness. Even though we find that from Noah went out all the people in the world, also Shem and his, from them come out the Yidden, but not directly from Noah do we find anybody that was really a key person in the whole Bria and in the whole creation. It took several generations to Avraham Avinu appear. And he was like the big chain, like the Rambam is married. In Hilchos Tanya is going to get to the greatness of Avraham Avinu, going to get to the whole world. And that's what the Medrash says. The Medrash says, Minach loyhem madati maginim v'ta. I didn't bring out of Noach Azolcha mention that they would be able to protect the whole generation and maybe generations, the loss of Rabbim, and tzaddikim are people that's moving the pastures, that they protect everybody, and their union is to show and be an example to the whole world. That's what he means. That Davka from you, that you are having this bris with me about the eating of Torah mitzvahs. I know that mitzvahs are going to be miskala elikus in the world, and that's going to change the whole world and make it incomparably higher and better place. And remember, you have people, they'll be living examples of that. And if the people won't be able to quite keep up, then there'll be maginim, there'll be protective people who are able and helping, and tzaddikim, there'll be mamshik that gilui elikus in the world, even if some of the people are dragging a bit behind. And that's what the Rebbe says in Perek Beis in Tanya, that one way or another, you have to be totally in the Talmud Chacham. You have no prayer, Ein Malasot, that you have to be totally in the Emes of Talmud Chacham, Shebo Yisadur. Even though there's no prayer one way or another, we're totally in the Rebbe, Mahob can pray on it. And it's just so obvious. As the days go past, it's getting more and more obvious. And I said with a group of people last night, they asked me to speak, so I spoke about the Gula Shlem, what am I going to talk about? So you don't think needing for Gula Shlem, they just looked down and checked it. They didn't sort of know what I'm talking about. They don't hear it. They don't hear it from their people, It's fine, it's all stuff to say. Someone looked up and peered at me over their noses. Some look at glasses that it took me over the glasses. Little Schleimer, it says, Moshiach, and what's it? Philip Floyd. Nonetheless, whether they want it or not, they're also totally in the road. And that's what he says, is Maginim and Tzadikim. It's still, the Rebbe protects everybody. So even those who don't know it, they don't realize, but he's protecting them. And he's also the Tzaddik, he's the one that makes everything right. What is a Tzaddik? A Tzaddik is a gerechter man. He's a man, but he's right. He's on the right line. Like they say in Yiddish, a gerechter man. I mean, he's on the right path, he's a right person. Righteous. That is Tzaddik. That's what David said to Avraham Avinu. He said, from you I'm going to bring out Maginim, the Tzaddikim mentioned, but with that oil from Torah Mitzvahs, they're going to look after the whole creation. I feel the mention raising it from that. I feel the Anashim lo yedum mizeh. That will be the story. That's in the Koyach of Torah and Mitzvah, and that's the Krisis bris that they have had to make with the Torah and Mitzvah. Not just telling you to do the Torah and Mitzvah. On the Etzem Torah and Mitzvah, you're going to Krisis bris. Kein Yeh Shleima, those are the Kavan. And if, then he goes on to say, could we see that after the whole Indian had done, had a Cheta Ego. And Moshe Rabbeinu had prayed for the Jewish peoples, and he'd done everything what he could with the guns, doies. And then we see after that the Abishai said to Moshe Rabbeinu, the Yigimel Mitzvah Arachim, yeah, Hashem Kel Racham V'Chanun, the 13 attributes of mercy. And then immediately after that, a posik or two after the Yud Gimel Mitzvah Arachim, and it's written, Hine Anoichi Koireis Bris. The Abishai says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm going to be koiros, I'm going to make a covenant. And then he says, E'aseh niflois asher lo nivru b'chol ha'oretz u'b'chol ha'goyim, and I will do niflois, I'll do wondrous things which have never been created, as it were, in the whole heavens and the earth. As he stated to him, come on, you guys, how can you be so verschlafen? I mean, what on earth is that? Comes again the Ramban. And the Ramban asked the Kasha, they said, we don't find it. After the Cheta Ego, we don't find it. Unbelievable Nisim, B'chol Ha'oretz, B'chol HaGoyim. They were the Nisim of that, so before Matan Torah, you know, with the Kriyas Yamsuf and Matan Torah, it's of after, you know, they don't find. So what did the Abishai say to Moshe? I'm going to make a bris, and I'm going to ask and niflois, I'm going to make unbelievable wonders. Yeah, b'chol ha'aretz b'chol ha'goyim shaloi nivru, and they've never been created. And so Chassidus asked themselves, what's nivru? What sort of word is that? In other words, even Yesh Me'ai can't carry these type of things which I'm going to do. These are mamish bombers. They blow all the klolim. I feel for Yesh Me'ai. I'm going to go, where do we find the Zolch in Yon? Let's break the Ramban. For answer Chassidus, that if you look careful over there, I asked myself another shot, what sort of bris was this Beklau? I mean, there's been bris on Torah Mitzvah, there's been a bris by Matan Torah, there was another bris of Moshe Rabbeinu. How many bris, with Abraham, with Noach, I mean, how many brises do you need? What's for a bris? What's a Sanaya bris? Anoichi, yeah, Anoichi Misha Anoichi, Koireis, bris. So for answer Chassidus, that's what the Rebbe hinted here, that he was a new Krisis bris at the in and HaTorah, but Torah it's connected with Tshuva. In other words, that the first bris, and most of the bris, like we said there, bris is that you can change the whole Shemayim word by being Mamshik Elakus in the world, and that's the union of Maginim and Tzadikim and the Gangshe, Arivim and the Jewish. Or what about if you didn't do the Hepach one? Dann kommt again and man macht Chorab de Welt. Ashof from doing what the Abish want, you make mamish chorah, the chet ha'ego, mamish heipa. So you would say, well, even kind of world's finished. Yeah, they've broken the bridge, I've gone in. I'd Abish will just blow the whole world up. He can't do that. He already told now he's not going to do it. So the world just drag on. Oh, come on, we do that. My here. And if the Abish said to Moshe Rabbeinu, no, with you I'm making a new bridge, that they'll be able to correct it all. Yeah, Torah and Teshuvah. They'll be able to take Torah and use it all in a new way that'll be, how do you call it, built and what you might call soaked in the Inyan from Teshuvah. In other words, that there'll be a power to correct the whole thing, to be able to make everything good. But from them days, it's always, that's the Inyan from Pesach Sheni, as the Kain Monish Fafalm, that there's never anything which can be said as lost. That's what he says now. He said, Hu Inyan, Yud Gimel Midas Horachamim, Shazo Krisis Brisa Ala Toira Vala Teshiva. Not just Torah, but Torah how it's together with you, a whole new Inyan. Okay, we should Machim. Acher Shali Day Torah v'Teshiva Nimshachim Giluim v'Oides Nailim Me'oid Shalamayla Me'ashayachla Oilames. Oh, but not just Stam Nailim. Before he said Naila Yoisa, now he says Nailim Me'oid Yoisa. Because the Inyan from Tshuva is a Zazach with, it's impossible to describe the greatness of Tshuva and how far Tshuva reaches. And how far that can be Megala Inyanim which have never been Ashaloi Niva. And so the Ramban suggests that maybe he does it the Pshat and considers brings it the Biur B'Dwara. That's the Pshat as a Niflois. Ashaloi Niva B'chol Ha'oretz B'chol HaGoyim. Tshuva is a Niflois which has never been there. And as our world, it can just continue being a world after you've made Rahman, you've ruined the whole world. And then you have the ability to correct it and bring it all back. That's Nifloi, Shashaloi Nasu, never been a Zaman. And he said, by Goyim Zichanit. They told me by Yid, Azam Mitzvotzah. Now, remember, Haflu B'Fele, Pidli Ploi. This one of the Rebbe Rashab, he said a mime about that Inyan, and that was the very last mime that he said. Just before Beis Nissen. Tofresh Pei. A few days before he wrote a Mamish Alinian said, the Krisis Bridge from Moshe Rabbeinu is the Koyach HaTshuva to bring back a new world. טוב, אין כאן אמות להאריך בזה וכל הרמוזים וכל העניונים שבוודאי יש בזה. אבל הפנים, התפרש לפי זה, the Torah, and B'frat Torah and Tshuva, are unbelievably higher than the whole Inyan of the Oyer Eloki, which is shaykh to Eilamet. Zim Kain, Ma'hu Inyan, Chucha Shebehem Cho Kachti, and he said that they are what? The Chucha Shemayim V'Oretz. He equalizes the Chucha Shemayim V'Oretz with the Chucha HaTorah. And he said, what is the shaykh? One to the other. What is the Inyan from Hakika, Shemayim V'Oretz, L'chukas HaTorah? The Chukas HaTorah is unbelievably higher than the Chukas Shemayim V'Oretz. And yet, nonetheless, that first medrash we brought down, it equalizes the two. And it says the Chukas of the Torah are the same Chukas that made the heavens and the earth. And we see here that it's unbelievably higher. The Chukas of the Torah absolute Ursula Mailamia Ilmus Lagamri, and how much more so the Inyan from Torah and Tshuva Gam Yachad, they're completely Lamaila Mia, as it was that the Inyan from Im B'Chuchisai Telecho is connected with the Inyan from Chuchis Shemayim V'Oretz. They're completely different and incomparably Chuchisai Torah is incomparably higher than Chuchis Shemayim V'Oretz. That's where we're holding at this particular moment, this particular second. In Mamela, we only have one unbelievable Zaika, and that is we say that Adma Sai is just going to go on this whole Inyan a boy in the Eilam is a machliba, that they didn't bring back the whole one, all of a sudden comes again, nothing we should give them and I make this horror. And so after the show, look what didn't look back with the most unbelievable suffering, with the unbelievable Yisurim. And they built back a stick of wealth. So Eino Hanami, they got mixed up with these crazy Tzionim and with all the other Bulbulim. There's a lot of them and they mean good. So so you got these crazy Tzionim, what they're going now making horror the whole world all over again. So as I saw the Shaila at Motzai. And therefore it's a Ka'ev Godel, if you start talking with certain Yidden, what they got longer payers for me and Gressel, Hitler for me and Gressel, coats for me and Metall, you know, when Mamish go, you start saying, start saying at Mosai guys, you know, worry about what's happening. What's this guy? He's wearing a badge. Some modern type, this, and he's so a bit of a crazy sort of a guy, you know, with some go to slam. You've got to get to these guys. You've got to wake them up. You've got to be more to India. We've got to be how he could. A talker out of, we've got to say to peoples, make them realize. On a Roitzim Moshiach Hashem, we've got to want episode, doesn't want. And it should be in an even and take over Miyad. Now, over Chesaduva, over Rachamim. That's what we're going to say about Zeis Chukasah HaTorah. And Amir Tzashem, tomorrow evening, hopefully, be Yerushalayim Irakoidesh, and Har HaBayis, and all the Inyanim, which will be Mamshik, with the Bio and what it means, Oyer Ein Say.